Your thighs stick to it. Does that make sense? Oh God, I don't know what I'm saying. Hello, I'm Jo and welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna be playing with the NORVINA Volume 2 palette, which is this one right here. I think I just wanna like get in, go ham, and pretend like we're some kind of like fish. Those of you who have been sending me your recreations of any of these looks, just know that they absolutely make my day. That is why I make these videos. You guys are doing such a great job and it's just the greatest thing ever. So thank you. And please continue to do so. If you guys take this tutorial and you do it either with blues, purples, bronze, whatever floats your boat, because it is up to your personal preference, style, and comfort level, then go for it. But please do tag me on Instagram. My Instagram is AverageJo_FX, and I'll pop that here. I always say use whatever products you have on hand. What I really want to focus on for this tutorial is more so going to be the tools or the brushes that we're using and the steps like layering, because like I love layers. I love layers in clothing. I love layers of makeup. What else do I like layers in? My croissants. I don't eat croissants, but if I did, I would want them to. Well, I know from watching a lot of the Great British Bake Off that it... Anyways, so the first brush that we're gonna pick up is from, I don't know because it's not labeled, but I love this one because it is incredibly like bulbous, but it's short, so you have a pretty decent amount of control over where exactly you're placing the product. It's like a little pom-pom. I'm gonna take the point of that brush, which you know the point is like the very top, and we are going to tip, tap, patty whack right here into this like Caribbean blue color. This is B5. Much like we do for many of our tutorials to apply this initial color, we're going to do so with like a stippling or a patting motion. So you get your pom-pom, and you just kind of like cheer this blue color on, you know what I mean? So I am following kind of the natural curvature of my eye because I know that my eyes are rather round. The difference though is that the inner portion of my eye tends to like tilt ever so slightly. I want to make sure that when I am stippling out this color, I kind of take that into account and make sure that especially on the inner corner, I drag it ever so slightly higher than I think that I need to initially, because when I'm looking dead on at you guys, when I'm done with this, I want that roundness to be there as opposed to like wonky. After I have a decent amount of that product initially placed, I do switch to a soft, like not quite that windshield wiper motion, but I'm just making sure that not only is everything placed well, but then that it starts to like blend within itself. I'm not going too high with that color either, simply because I want to make sure that I have somewhere for that to go. Like if I'm going to blow that out or blend it with other colors, I need to make sure I have room for that. Otherwise, it's going to be up here and I'm going to look like a raccoon, but like a blue raccoon, which might be kind of cute, but not what we're going for today. I have one of the Veramona color switches. It's basically like a stipple sponge in an aluminum can, but we like it a whole heck of a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't understand the hype until I used my first one, and then I was like, well then. So I just knocked off the excess product from that brush. The next thing that we're going to do is pick up the color A2, which is like this beautiful like highlighter, like yellowy green, and I am going to tilt my brush so that I am loading that kind of not quite onto the belly and not quite onto the point where the brush starts to like curve. Not to be too terribly specific, right? And so when we go in with this color, what we want to do is hit not all the way up where that blue has tapered entirely, but right on the edge. We want these two colors to like kiss, but not to marry. And again, this will be more of a stippling motion, and start tapping that color out, following that round shape that we created earlier. I'm putting on like a neon yellow green, but where those two colors are kissing, right in the middle, you also see a hint of just vibrant green because it is going ahead and blending with that blue. And again, I'm not dragging this color all the way up to my brow bone. As product is coming off the brush, I get more comfortable sweeping it out in that direction. We're gonna pick up B1, which you'll see has less yellow in it, but still is like fairly vibrant as far as the green goes. So we're gonna pick that up on like a flatter brush, something a little bit closer to this. I don't want this color to be super overwhelming, but I am going to hit right where I see all the rest of that green starting to form already, concentrating it a little bit closer to blue than say yellow, because again, we just want to make sure that we don't drag that color up too terribly high. And then instead of going in with my brush directly like this, I'm gonna kind of turn it to the side and do a soft like flicking motion like so. And that is going to help us really melt all of these colors in together. I feel like we've lost a little bit of that blue, so don't mind me. I'm just gonna make sure we hit that a little bit. Same rounded brush from earlier, and I know that I wanna do some like halo-eyed kind of ordeal down here, so I'm also going to take that blue all the way to the outer skirts of my lid here on the outer corner, as well as right here on the inner corner. So I'm picking up P. Louise and saturating it on either side of a rounded flat brush like so. I like them big because my eyes are big, and so it just makes it a little bit easier. I'm keeping that shape rather round. I'm not too terribly worried about how this feathers out, simply because we're about to go in with eyeshadow and we can always clean it up. So that's kind of where I want my halo to be. You can place yours however you see fit. I do have a super in-depth halo eye tutorial for those of you who are interested in that. For our lid shade, I think we're gonna do this pretty color right here. This is C1, just like we did with like pressed pigments. Also for shimmers, I prefer to use like a packing motion. It looks like a mess until it doesn't. So to taper the inner and outer corner of that in together, we're going to pick up this really pretty like blue color. I'm picking up quite a generous bit of that, and I am going to turn my brush sideways and place it just on the outer edge and kind of stipple and then flick. I think oftentimes people do such beautiful work, but if you leave those edges too harsh, it just kind of kills it for me a little bit. All right, so we tapped that shade in to help that blend, and we're also picking up a little bit more of that initial blue as well. Not going in as far as we did with the shimmery shade, but just to make sure that the whole thing is like cohesive, blown out. Okay, so now that we are done with the top portion, we have to blow all of these colors out along the lower lash line. That way it stays like nice, curved, sexy. This brush is not labeled, but I guess I'm just gonna refer to it as like the pom-pom brush, because that's kind of what it reminds me of. And we're gonna pick up that B5 color, which is that initial bright blue, and we are going to hit the very outer corner where you see this blue already exist, right here in the curve of our outer corner, because we want it to be nice, blown out, round. If you are not someone who enjoys like a super like blown out lower lash line, by all means do not. But I love it, especially if you're playing with like bright colors like this. You're already there, you might as well. Now I'm gonna pick up that A2 color, which is that fluorescent highlighter color, and we're gonna do basically all of the same steps that we did up here, because we want to create the same like ring light effect, like the same kind of gradient. So I'm gonna make sure that this color kisses the very edge of that blue, and then we're gonna go in with green. Strategically placed awesomeness is kind of what we're going for here, you know what I mean? Okay, and then back with that other brush again, the slightly more flat one, and we're picking up B1, which is the more green. Even though it looks complicated, it looks like these are fairly simple. You just have to like take your time and be patient. A3 is right next to that fluorescent highlighter color that we used. It looks more muted on camera, but it's actually not. It's pretty much the same color as, it's like these two mixed with a little bit of shimmer. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it is beautiful. And so we're gonna pop that right there. Siri was texting for me that entire time. She can't get simple sentences right. She caught most of that tutorial. Boom. You like that? It's like... Okay, so I did the other eye, mascara, and lashes all off camera. And now we just need to finish off our face. I'm picking up the Hoola bronzer from Benefit. I'm hitting the very top of the cheekbone, curving it around into the temple. And I'm also going to stipple just a little bit of that color, even though I have bangs. And so, you know, it will not be seen, but I'm gonna hit the top of the forehead as well. I'm also gonna hit a little bit right here in the center, and then drag whatever is left from the outskirts of the top of that cheekbone onto just edge of the draw. For our blush today, no shockers here, we're gonna use the trio that I built for Makeup Forever. I'm gonna do this one because it's not quite as deep as this like dusty rose, but I don't want the warmth from like the peachy tone. And again, I'm just gonna hit the top of that cheekbone, making sure that it kind of kisses that bronzer, but I don't want super blushy cheeks. We're just trying to look alive. You guys know I always put A little bit of blush right here on the end of the nose. To me, it's just so youthful, it's so pretty. And highlighter today is gonna be none other than the Ofra Cosmetics Rodeo Drive. I'm gonna try the Cupid's bow today and just hope we don't look like we have a sweaty upper lip. And then the chin, because I saw Jaclyn Hill do it and I was like, why not? Good to know that your palette can double as a fan. This is the color Entice Temptation. Temptation, really? Yeah, Entice Temptation. Not like temptation, I didn't read it wrong, it's just, that's what it's called. This is from NYX Cosmetics, it's one of their slip teases. I don't know, I feel like that's still too much color. This is Sandstorm from NYX. And that is going to be it for today's tutorial. I do hope that you enjoyed it. I'm really pleased. I can't wait to use this palette again, maybe dive into some of the other colors that I still haven't played with. You guys know that yellow is like one of my favorite eyeshadow colors to wear. So the next time you see this palette, as always, you guys are welcome to drop a comment down below with anything you would love to see here on this channel. I like to create what you guys like to see. I hope you guys are having a fun, safe, healthy day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.